Virgo, in the year 2022, what does the year have in store for you? Sun, moon, rising, excuse me, and wherever Virgo is in your chart, there might be some messages in here for you. Okay, so this is a year of breaking through obstacles in regards to making big decisions about your legacy that you're leaving behind in this life. And I'll start here. So I see your main focus is going to be having fun, and work is probably not going to be like something that you are totally ecstatic about. You may be working on some kind of project and you or have been, and you're just getting tired of waiting for something to come of it, in terms of finances or resources, or the final product. This could be overall, I see you really working on being happy, creating. You're feeling very creative at this time, and you may be kind of a little daydreamy too. Throughout this year, dreaming of the life that you want to create. I see you valuing alchemy, valuing the blending of different aspects within maybe different mediums within an artistic expression. You may be very well working on or valuing the time you have cooking this year. For some reason, that's coming through. I also see anything that's like science related, in terms of mixing one thing with another to create something else. And this may very well be like a healing type thing where it's a blending of ingredients to benefit the body or the health. So I do see that being something that you are interested in, or that you're really focused on in terms of what you're valuing this year. I'm getting from your vicinity, your local area, or your siblings, and how you're communicating. There may be a need to communicate with somebody about breaking up some kind of toxicity, and walking away from that, or shining a light on that, whether it's you talking to yourself really about toxic behaviors, that you have addictions, patterns that are not so healthy or very restrictive. And you kind of taking time out to shine a light on kind of a darkness in your life, to gain more wisdom on the matter. This could be having to do with a sibling. You just communicating your concern about how they're behaving and maybe checking in with them, or checking them in a way. I see whatever this is, you are in your element. You are very much a Virgo about this, and you're shining. You're putting a magnifying glass or a telescope lens on this thing. So I don't know if you work in the health field and you are working in a lab right now. It's very possible. But it seems like there might be some kind of information, communication that starts to help break toxic bonds within that area of your life where you're alone, or you will be removing yourself from a certain amount of time in order to deal with. Whether that's in a room, doing it under a microscope lens, or putting that microscope lens on a relationship that may very well be not so great at this time. This could be because the Hermit shines a light in the dark. He holds the star in his lantern, and really that light is coming from within him. It's that wisdom that he's gained from healing and it's the hope and faith that he's bringing from his internal knowing of and trying to shed a light on this certain aspect, whatever he's gone off on his own to figure out. So this could be you shining a light on some toxicity or some kind of negative situation, and finding out more information about it. And you may be not communicating about it at this time. It's a very just finding the details and gaining more clarity on it. It seems like this information might be leaked to somebody, and so then you would have to combat a lot of attention or deal with a lot of defending this person or situation. Or maybe this person might be at a distance from you, a long distance from you, starting to be a little bit manipulative or using their power in a negative way to maybe cause you to have to defend what you're doing at this time. And it seems like you have higher ground than this person. They seem pretty low on the totem pole. So you will be able to navigate this situation and come out on top. I do feel that you might be distancing yourself from somebody who has been troublesome, and they start to blast you on the internet, for example, or they somehow get the message out and communicate to other people about their dissatisfaction, or spread rumors or whatever. They use their power in a way to kind of mess with things, but you seem to be handling it well. So I'm not too worried about that. In terms of your home, you or your childhood upbringing, your fourth house, I see the home might be turned upside down for a portion of 2022. And you may be waiting for some contractors to come in and finish a job or help build something. There might be something in your home that you're waiting on some shipment or information to come in so you can finish a project at home. Overall, I see you celebrating the accomplishment of this, or celebrating the arrival of people in the home, whether it's a visitor that may complete the picture in some way. If this is a situation at home that's been challenging, if I don't see too much challenge here, but if there is, you may very well be getting the information, or let's just say it will settle itself out. It's coming towards you, the solution. You may be getting another home, or your family might be getting a second home or a vacation home. And it might be near the water. That's for some of you. And you're just getting that prepared, planning. And it's just like a little bit of a waiting game for some part of the year. I see in love. Now, this could be tied to the toxic situation that you're shining a light on, that we spoke of. But there's somebody here who is not giving, not very nurturing, doesn't want to continue with something. So it could be just your plans for the home. This person is being a little bit like, we don't have the money for that. I don't want to keep dealing with this. This is crazy. My house is all turned upside down, and I really don't want to deal with any more of this. So they're just being a little bit impatient and maybe withholding their more nurturing or loving side at this time. If this is the toxic person, you may very well find it difficult. They may leave the situation if it's really an unhealthy situation for you. I don't see that for most, but if they leave the situation, they may take some things from the home that you once used, and you would have to probably order some new things so to replace what they've taken, whether it was theirs or not theirs, because they don't want to share anymore in this situation. Whether that's like a timeshare you put in with your family and now somebody's like, I don't want to spend the money on that anymore. And so you may very well be having to give more money toward the situation, or at least wait for a solution to come in. But in terms of love, I find her to be a little more withdrawn and maybe a little bit manipulative with the finances, or see the Queen of Pentacles in the upright. She's very nurturing and receptive to abundance because she knows that it is always provided for her, because she's worked hard to attain a certain level of abundance, and it's like the garden that keeps feeding her, that she's built from her own two hands, the seeds she's planted keep giving to her. So I feel like this person may very well have the ability to be a part of the situation, but has decided that it's better for her to move on and do what she wants to do, or she's taken what she's needed from the situation and is no longer willing to provide back anything. So in terms of love, I think that could be like a big red flag, like especially if you're dealing with somebody that's of this nature, or has been toxic in communication, or just in a codependent sense. It would be wise to really examine your love relationships this year and see how they're going. She may just not want to let go of something that she's held on to for a very long time, but isn't beneficial for the relationship, her holding on to it anymore. I'm trying to think of an example. Maybe you're trying to offer her something and she's not willing to take it because she doesn't want to, she has too much pride. She doesn't want to accept anything from others. Moving on. Your day-to-day life and your job and health and what's going good for you, what's good for your body or your well-being. I see maybe at work somebody is not necessarily respecting you so much. I feel like you might be very new at what you're doing, or maybe you're not working right now and someone's finding you to be childish and, not that you are lazy, but they are seeing you as that. They might be looking down on you a little bit. They're not a terrible person. They're just conflicted about how they feel about you at this time. Or maybe somebody that's just starting out at work is looking up to you as being somebody who's accomplished and in control and really doesn't have to work so hard to your actions look effortless, but they don't really understand the amount of energy and the amount of actual physical effort that's gone into what you do, whether it's just an aspect of your life that they're looking at. You may also feel the need to take a risk in terms of your day-to-day existence, like in order to feel like you like almost a prowling of like not a prowling but a staking claim, like you want to see more, you want to do more than you've been doing, and that's part of the I'm looking to be happy and grow my finances and my life and take care of myself. So if you are working with any kind of growing, like I see gardening being a big thing, and for Virgos that's a very big thing. Virgos, a lot of Virgos like to garden and are very good at it. I have a green thumb. I see you maybe something that you started a long time ago is now I keep seeing like a tree, like a seedling to a tree. So maybe you're harvesting something. If you work with herbs or anything, like I said, the alchemy, you own an apothecary, or are looking to start one, I see that being an action that you would be very good at. Also, if somebody needs something at work, or say if you have a company and somebody works for you and they have, they're bringing their tools to the table, which is like nothing, and you have really nice tools to offer them, they might really appreciate that, but just be a little bit immature and not show you exactly how much they appreciate that. I see like a start to finish situation with the health. So something that could have been a little problem of the past is now completed. You're feeling a lot more confident and in your power about it, able to manage it. You're managing maybe your workload a lot better, or you're managing your impulsivities a lot better. And that could be something that you had to deal with. You had to shine a light on your own toxic situation over here. Maybe you had some trouble with addiction at one point, but now are growing and maturing. Your relationships with others, career relationships, coworkers, I don't see you wanting to take your time with things. I see you kind of, say if you were riding a bull and or a horse, and you slap the horse on the backside, and when you got excited about something, and you're just going for it. So I feel like you want to be happy. You are tending to your happiness, and that's your main focus. And that you will be quickening your pace, especially when you feel pulled to make a decision about something, big decisions in relationships this year. I feel like you'll be making very big and quick decisions in relationships this year. I'm not sure if that's something you normally do. I don't think your sign is typically one to make a judgment on moving forward with other people in a romantic sense. So, or maybe you are. Maybe you just had enough of whatever's been going on in your life, and you're like, okay, there's this new person I like, and I want to just go for it. I also see your energy kind of it's like a rocket, you know? It's like slow, and then all of a sudden, boom, I'm making decisions. And, or you could be kind of just moving along, and then there's like this big kind of revelation, rebirth situation with relationships where you realize, like, okay, it's time, or it's this person's right for me. I'm just going to go for it. And I think it makes you really happy. And maybe you've been waiting for a very long time and didn't see much coming your way. And so you're tired of waiting and you're going for it. Whatever feels right, you're going to make a big decision on it. In the 8th house, I'm seeing I'm seeing an accomplishment, a success, and a success that others also see. So this could be your credit score may go way up. You may get approved for a loan this year that leaves you feeling like on top of the world. You might be getting a lot of attention or accolades from others for something you find. You might unearth something that's really cool, or you might it's like, Mom, look what I found. I have this thing. Or you might be getting accolades for overcoming negative emotional health, like mental health issues. Or you may be getting accolades for a job well done and breaking a toxic cycle. In your life. Very possible. There's also the possibility that you've created something or took the time and the resources to blend together some sort of almost there. um, I just see you being being recognized for power, your personal power. And that may be something that you somehow, I mean, the only other thing I can come up with at this moment is like, if you were to, the eighth house rules like psychic abilities, it rules the taboo. You might be acknowledged for being a part of kind of like a taboo thing, like being seen as an occult writer or an occultist, an accomplished occultist. You may be revered for that. What else does Scorpio rule? Poisonous plants. So if you do work in the medicinal fields or with herbs, you might find a poisonous plant like that has benefits for others. It is like something that's harvested deep in the earth that's dangerous, but yet others can use it as a resource. It's a taboo thing as well because it's dangerous, you know. So, or overcoming your fears. So if you were afraid of anything in your life, maybe I'll just say anything at all, really. You've overcome that fear. It could have been a huge mental, could have been like a neuroses thing where you had an issue or you knew somebody who had an issue. Maybe you're being recognized as a accomplished psychologist. Recognized for your work in the darkness. It's like Batman. Hero in the darkness. I'll try to get back to that and see if I can get anything else out of it. In the ninth house, there might be 2 trips that you want to go on this year, and you might have to choose one. And I feel like somebody might be trying to manipulate you to go, like pressure you to go with them to do something, and you're kind of like, nah, like trying to push them off or evade them, and they're what they want, their motivations. I see in terms of philosophy, you might accidentally manifest a lot of attention. So this might be what's coming here. With this accolades, like in a strange way, it's out of nowhere, all of a sudden, there's this very interesting, like, people on your lawn, like, asking, how'd you do it? Or maybe you're defending your own beliefs against somebody who's maybe trying to kind of dog you into their dogma. Like, maybe you have certain, I mean, political beliefs are usually like 7th house related, but it's like 7th and 9th house. So maybe they are trying to shove their political beliefs on you, and you're like, no, I don't need you to put that in my face. These are so mundane, and sometimes, like, will I remember it through the whole year? And try to use it as a practical, like, guide. Well, hopefully you do. I don't know. Maybe it's like one person out of a million that may have this thing happen. But I feel like there's some sort of, you might not have the resources or the tools to get something, to get a trip, a big trip done, or to go on a sabbatical to another country, and somehow you're trying to meet up or team up with different people to maybe get their opinions on it, how you're going to get there. You might go somewhere where there's like sparring, like there's some kind of dance with sticks. Any dualities that come up in terms of your long range thinking. You might just be spiritually or conflicted about your philosophies on life. Like, on one hand, I believe this, but on another, I kind of believe this, and maybe you're you're almost fighting yourself on the different aspects or contexts of weighing it up within you, trying to figure out what it is that I believe. Well, in career, I see you almost demanding more to somebody in an organization of authority within career, and this is your destiny or your purpose out in the world. I see you really like being like, I have these plans, I want to make this happen, and they're maybe not as receptive to your ideas or your actions, and they may very well be almost, it's almost like an unorthodox kind of job hierarchy, where there might be nepotism involved. I'm getting that word. And you're like, but I have these plans and I want to do this. And they're like, well, so-and-so's got the job. And so-and-so may very well be somebody in their family. And so it leaves you waiting for, you're like, but I only have these 2 rods. I would really like 4 rods. So if you could just throw me that 3rd rod, it'd be about really great about now. And you may look to the horizon for new things. In terms of, if you're unemployed and you're looking for work, I would plan to go with a job that isn't so corporate, that's a little more fluid in terms of schedule and rules, because you seem maybe a little unsure of what's to come, and you might want some more flexibility in your work schedule. Tough decisions, and that's kind of what I see for the overall year, but mostly to do with your legacy. So this is like, what am I going to be when I grow up? And I want to be a grown-up about this. I really want to adult, but also having a hard time with the establishment or the system, or just trying to wrap your mind around it and be like, okay, so what can I tolerate? What can I tolerate? What am I passionate about? I think you're maybe trying to figure out a way to get this career dream or goal off the ground that you think you want to do, but you're just kind of coming up against a brick wall with certain people. Maybe at school, maybe you're going to school right now and you're not working, and you're trying to plan your education, and you're having a hard time dealing with a counselor or a professor that's just a little too loosey-goosey for you, or doesn't seem to have any structure to what they're teaching you, and you feel maybe a little bit lost because you're like, I've got this whole world in my hand and I'm listening to you babble about this. And I also see the sun rising for you and setting for somebody else. So somebody may be retiring at your job, and you may be kind of passed the torch and be learning like the deets of their job. Especially if you work at a school, you might be taking over a department for somebody who's leaving this year. All right. In your house of associations and friends, how free you feel in life. I feel like you are I'm kind of getting this thing from this card where, you ever see those games when you're a kid, or like a magician like moving 3 different or 4 different, usually it's 3, I think, 4 different cups, like swaying them back and forth in between each other, and then you put the ball underneath one of them and he starts moving them, and then you try to lift up the one that you think that the ball's under. And so it's almost like you're trying to play catch up with a friend, and you just keep missing them throughout the year. This is like full on accepting an offer, but it's like you might see the offer but have a hard time, it's kind of elusive. It might be hard to connect with certain people that you used to connect with on a regular basis. And you also might get a surprise from a friend that, has been thinking about you and wants to give you a token of love that you might really like. This would be something that would almost open your mind and kind of be pop culture, if you're into that sort of thing. And it's probably something you can put in your home, like on a shelf or something. It's like super sweet and cute and makes you think of them fondly. And it's also something you're interested in, that's like unique. And that might be like something guests come over and they're like, oh, that's really cool. You very well might get something like that this year. And you'll know what I'm talking about. Like, it's one of a kind type situation. In terms of I love you, please don't try to get up on the table. Thank you. I'll pet you in a minute. In terms of your 12th house, I see almost like a wishing on a star, like some kind of, because normally the 2 of Pentacles is like a juggling. So sometimes people consider it like a dropping the ball on, maybe having too many irons in the fire, going at the same time and not being able to keep up with them all. I almost see your faith just when you thought like you might have been overwhelmed and did drop the ball on something. Or maybe you're just, you're overwhelmed with something and you're dropping the ball, a ball, but there's 2 pentacles. So you have 1 pentacle left. And it seems like that one pentacle ends up being like your shining star. And that one pentacle, which is technically, if it's just one of them, it's the Ace of Pentacles, is like a gift from the universe. And I feel like you've wished for this for so long. It's like one thing that could have been a little bit of a trouble ends up becoming one of the best things that ever happened to you. And there's some stardom here. I really think that some of you are spiritual gurus. Like you might be recognized for something that you do in terms of the esoterica or detective work, or Virgos are great detectives. So that definitely actually makes a lot of sense, because there's like lab stuff and there's digging up things. And so if anybody is a detective, that would be really cool that you were watching my video. But there's something that it's almost like you figure out which one it is. Tossing out the old idea or the old concept, or the old evidence that doesn't make any sense, that's inaccurate. And you follow your star to healing and to stardom, really. And there's this transformative energy. Like this star that changes into a beautiful woman, like in that movie, which I won't mention her name. I can't. Stardust. It's almost like the heavens kind of sprinkle a little stardust on you after you figure out the clue. And the 8th house is such a house of like mystery. So there could have been a big mystery in your life and you finally solved it. And it could have been a mystery that has to do with your mind, your subconscious mind, cracking through mental health stuff. And there's a great healing. And that is spiritually elevating you. It also could be that you working on a case of some kind, doing some detective work, whether you're an actual detective or you're just been interested in this or focused on something that has led you down a rabbit hole. You may very well get to the bottom of that rabbit hole and find yourself Alice in Wonderland. Like, it's kind of very magical. And the death card marching, it's almost like news from the spirit world. Like, it's coming in, and here you are. It's like death becomes her. It's weird. I'm getting like what was once dead is now like has now been brought to life. And overall, dealing with something you can't see, something that is shrouded in darkness, an obstacle, and finding gold or legacy underneath it. So you might stumble on some antiques, some gold or something. You might be digging through your attic and your proverbial 12th house, and find something, that a family heirloom that's like super valuable, that you knew that you had up there but you couldn't find for years, but you didn't know how much money it was, and then it being brought to your attention, or you've do detective work and figure it out yourself. So I think that is going to be your entire reading. I see you're working on being happy. Maybe that's been something that's been challenging in the past, and now you're like, that is my goal this year. I'm going to be happy. You're building things. You're doing some alchemy, blending of different things. You're clearing out some negative things, or shining a light on some dark things that are been either unseen, or working on kind of cleansing out, or bringing wisdom to a darker situation, or light to it. You are waiting for your ships to come in with career and legacy planning, asking for what you want. I see relationships being romantic relationships. It's kind of like 50-50. I think that you might just go for something, seat of your pants, you know. That's not usually your thing, but go for it if that makes you happy. I do see some challenges with the work situation. Maybe people not believing you. That's another thing. People thinking your ideas are silly, but then at the end of all this, it seems like you really knew what you were talking about, and you figured it out, and it's almost like the spirit world, the universe is rewarding you in a kind of obscure, like, miscellaneous way. Like, it's very interesting. Friends are going to be adorable this year. They'll have surprises for you. The ones that are around, if you feel like you're not wanting to accept a lot of new offers from friends, that's okay. But just stay a little open, because you never know. There might be you might be hanging out with your 3 best friends, and then there's this other person that's got this like key to your broader perspective out there. Super big connections in the world that could help you out, or this could be a super big connection that does help you out because it's a genuine friendship and might really hit it off. Travel looks a little bit wonky, but we all knew that anyway. And you're victorious in some kind of 8th house matter. So I think that's awesome, Virgo. I hope you liked your reading. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you on the other side in January of 2022.